communicated a couple of months. Sorry. So as we communicated in February that 7.0 version of BDB platform was released, and we promised to all the partners that we will be coming up with a sequence of or series of webinars to show different type of verticals, how these use cases can be built quickly on 7.0. So what we will do is we will take the use case of Industry 4.0 or oil and gas, and we will show what we have done here. But before that, I wanted to set up the webinar, although some people might not have come yet, but this will be recorded. And so it asks you to be joining as a mute participant, but you can always ask your questions in comments and chat. And hopefully we will be able to complete everything in 45 minutes. And then we will open it for Q&A. But first we will go through the chat and then we will start answering it. So Anup, who is our chief architect, is also there with us, and he will be answering your technical questions. And post the event, you can expect us to share this set of webinar. And we did yesterday in India as well, or in the Indian time zone. And we will share both the links with the audience. Moving on, this is what we want to do it. So I will be introducing basically about what's new in BDB 7.0. And we will talk about the use case description, pipeline demo with the data science lab, the new feature that we have come up with, and visualization for decision making with write back feature. And we will touch upon data as an API and data catalog, which is very, very critical for doing the end-to-end workflow, especially when we are talking about data platforms. And Mani, who is a solution architect with BDB, will be taking most of the session. So now we are defining BDB 7.0 is a low-code hyper-automation data analytics platform that accelerates data ops and AI ops for enterprises on course to digitization and data monetization. So why we are saying this very specifically is, over last 2 years, we have done a couple of petabyte scale implementations, and we have seen by choosing 2 different verticals that BDB really works and helps us to process the data faster. And since it's more of an integrated platform, the ingestion to visualization is happening smoothly, and you're able to develop the use cases and start putting them into the production faster. And so basically, what does the box contains? The box will contain the data pipeline, or we can say that the advanced data pipeline now, and data governance, data catalog, data quality, data as a service API, and data science. And data visualization is still the same, but it has been enhanced in terms of its capability to give more executive looking dashboards. And we are saying that it is faster, and it all depends upon how the team of implementation does it. And that's how our exercise of talking to partners and making the ecosystem larger and more effective in terms of how we can use this platform. Now, how this platform looks up with over last 7-8 years of journey. And if you wanted to ask, if you want more interested in journey, then I can show another slide. But this is how it looks like that, as we are doing more implementations, the data adapters are increasing. So now we have around 100 plus data adapters. And the pipeline or the data piece or the data virtualization piece looks like that the orchestrations, monitoring, scheduling, and version control is happening over a large amount of data, where you can have data governance, data security, data loss protection, anonymizations, and all the data service layers inbuilt inside the box. with so much of data pipeline of the shelf components, but at the same time, you can do your own custom development using Python Scala. And finally, the one piece that was missing was the AI ML lab. So we have been able to put a data science lab where data scientists can do the experimentation. They can create their own models, test it, collaborate with each other, and then finally we'll be able to deliver it all together. And data as an API is a very interesting concept because it is helping us to even integrate the other UIs or able to expose the data to the mobile applications or any third-party applications as well. And GraphQL is something which we are coming up. We will cover that in subsequent webinars because we plan to release that this year. Data catalog is an interesting and important feature that we will show it, but data catalog is available out of the box, but it's not a separate component. It is part of the overall pipeline segment. So this is how the overall platform is looking. And out of the box visualization of governed dashboard, self-service, and mobility is there. This is an important slide in a way that I just wanted to show, like when we have done development over last 5-6 years from 2015 to 2020. So we have worked on all the pieces of data ingestion, processing, data science, and data visualization, and we made it more complete with the help of surveys and forms and few more features. But when we started deploying it for larger customers, the concept of data as an API and data catalog was important. And at the same time, we kept on getting feedback in terms of the data BDB notebook. So we have added that. So what this slide is showing is that our commitment to engineering and to write new features to provide our customers and partners is intact. And we commit that in coming future and coming years also, our platform will become even more stronger with all the type of features and will keep up with the competition. So this is the slide just to show that fact. And another important thing is, so like we are showing here in the roadmap, is just not writing new features, but at the same time, the platform needs to keep on getting upgraded in terms of the Kubernetes versions, the Python versions, the jQuery, JavaScript, all those type of different type of versions. And some of the features which we are trying to show in terms of the overall roadmap of 22, that how these different type of versions like CI/CD pipelines and all those things will start coming up in 2022. Now I will ask Mani to give a holistic view of how IIoT use case in oil and gas type of segment can be built quickly using this platform. Over to you, Mani.
Yeah, thanks, Amin. That was one of a good intro to the 7.0 release, what we have done on this platform. So to explain the 7.0, what are the new features we have released and how it can be easily made available for the users. So we thought of taking a use case here. So here we consider a use case to explain how it would be solve the problems of the IoT industry which is moving towards the industry 4.0 standards. So let me get into the problem statement here. So here the requirements are something like we consider the oil and gas company which wanted their management as well maintenance and the monitoring system to be digitized, and all their machines were connected through and the BDB team was requested to fetch the data from it or receive the data from their sensors through the gateways, and we have to process the data, and we have to send real-time monitoring in case of any alerts are generated, any of the sensor is violating the thresholds. It has to be generated, alert has to be generated inside the dashboards or a monitoring system. We can say it is a monitoring system, and then there's an option like we need to send the notification or notification through a mail. So in case of some alerts are coming in, and it has to be notified to any of the managers or unit engineers, it should be sending an email. And then there is an option like which is being required to create a directly, like from the alert comes in, there should not be any manual intervention to create a task which has to be addressing this particular issue in a mission. So we have integrated with the ticket management system here. For this use case, I have used Jira for this. So the ticket management system, what happens is the pipeline creates the ticket management, communicates with the ticket management system and creates the task or the bugs or the issues for the particular unit engineer to go and check on that sensors, which mission is causing the issues. And then there was again like how we will be able to restrict the data, or how we'll be able to restrict the access of the complete data between managers and the unit engineers. So we would need to give a role-based access control for each users whomever logging into the platform. And this okay, so these things how we have implemented in the platform. Along with this enterprise wants to have a API, or they wanted to connect, or they wanted to send the data outside of the platform, which they might be having existing applications, or they might be having existing UI, which they wanted to use this data, whatever is being processed inside the platform. So that also been achieved here. So this is the requirement of this flow. So let me go to the implementation architecture of it. So this is the implementation architecture what we have followed here. So we just need to connect to the factory IoTs which produces the data. For this current use cases, we have considered like with multiple unit and multiple plants. A machine is generating almost 75 sensors. We are getting the data from 75 sensors, which producing the data in a rate of like for a minute 20 to 30 points are getting generated by each sensors. So using our BDB data platform, how it is being processed, what are the components has been used to receive the data and show the alerts. So this is the implementation architecture we have followed. So if you see this, there is a IoT listener. So this is on inbuilt or out of the box component, which is available inside the BDB pipeline itself. So in case any of the components which is not supporting existing or traditional gateways, we'll be able to write a custom Python code to listen that sensor values. And then the use case is all about like check whether it is a alert or not, whether it is breaching the threshold or not. If it is breaches the threshold, send alert notification, and it has to be shown in the dashboard. And the same time, we need to create a ticket in the Jira. So that's also been done. And if it is a normal values which is not having any alerts, it has to be stored, as well as it has to be shown in the dissemination layer, which is the data dissemination layer, which is the dashboards, live instant tracker dashboard. So here, one of the new feature what Avin also was saying about is the DS lab, how this helps to find the anomaly of whatever the values coming in. So this is example for this use case we have taken as an anomaly detection, but it could be anything. So using the DS lab, you can write any kind of models and publish it to the pipeline, so the real-time pipeline access that. So for this so right now whatever the real data comes in, we are storing it into the raw zone, and it process the same real data is getting processed using the anomaly detection model, which is published using the DS lab, and the result is being stored for analytical zone. And this rule engine says whether it is normal data, it shows here, and if it is alert data, we are storing it into the alert data collection, which could be used for the further analysis by the data engineers. So, and there was one more unique requirement, like they wanted to integrate their ticket management system with the dashboards, which is BDB designer dashboards. So how they'll be able to connect or write back to the ticket management system. So we have an option with the pipeline plus dashboards. We have an option of writing back the information to the ticket management system. So this dashboards has been accessed by the managers and the unit engineers of that particular plant. So what are the modules is being used here for this use case? It's a data pipeline, BDB data pipeline is being used, and the newly released DS lab is being used, and dashboard designer with write back option, it's been used, and data as an API, which has been used to produce the data, or which has been used to send the data outside the platform. And overall, next part is a very useful part for the data who is going to use the data. It's a data catalog. This part I'll be covering in the end of the session, so that it makes like more, it gives more information about what is data catalog in BDB platform. So let me go to the pipeline here. So this is the pipeline. So let me, this is the pipeline what we have implemented. Let me go to the real one. So I'm just going into. I hope everybody would be aware of this page. So from the home, I'm going to the pipeline. So let me go to the pipeline list of pipelines. Here you could see these are the list of pipelines we have created. This is the main pipeline which receives the data and which has been sending the data, processing the data here. So let me view it. So here you can see how the resources is being configured, whether it is what the status is active or not. And let me go view it here. So once I view it, I'll be able to see the complete flow of the pipeline. Here you can see, okay, so as I was saying that we do have ingestion options, like we do have this MQTT receiver, OPC UA, or if you wanted to connect with any other data gateways, you'll be able to connect to it. And we can use, right now we are connecting to a Kafka event, which produces the data for us. So this Kafka event is producing the data, like we are receiving the data in this Kafka event for each thing. You could see there is a incremental, actually it's a real-time use case. So you could see there's an incremental happening on the data, what we are receiving here. So once the data has been coming, so we need to, once the data has been processed, we need to know like what's happening here, whether it is a alert or it's a normal data. So we have built a rule engine here, which checks for each sensor, whether this violating or it's the threshold is getting violated. For it could be something like, so we are using 75 sensors. Each sensor will be having a different threshold values. We need to know like which sensor is producing what kind of what kind of values, and we need to know like whether it is persisting for some time. So it could be some error. It could be some errors because of that some data values have been crossing the threshold. But if it persists for say like 10 minutes or 5 minutes, there should be alert generated for it. So that kind of rule is being written here using our custom Python component. And this tags, this particular component tags whether it is a alert or not. If you see here is alert, if it says yes, the particular value is an alert, and if it says no, the value is a normal one. So we used a rule splitter component here, which using it our, like we are sending it, okay, whether it is yes, it has to be gone to the above one, and it has to be gone, if it is no, it's alert data, and this other process has to be followed. So if it is a normal, then we are sending this data through WebSocket, and we are showing it in the dashboards. And if it is alert data, so we are processing this data here, and we are doing this three processes parallelly here. So one is once we receive the alert data here, we are formatting the data and sending the data as a WebSocket to the dashboards, which you will be getting a notification in the dashboards. And parallelly, we are sending it to email alerts also. So as I was saying that if you wanted to send the alerts, like if you wanted to send a notification in email, you should be able to do that as well. And parallelly, it creates the Jira ticket. This component helps us to go and create the ticket in a Jira using for which unit it is or which sensor it is. You'll be having a complete description of it, and a ticket will be created for you. And we are storing this same data, alert data, into this MongoDB. So here, why we have used MongoDB for this use cases, like this is a time series based data, and recent one 5.0 Mongo 5.0 provides more performance improvement on this time series collections and stuff. So we have used MongoDB here as an in this particular use case. So this is a use case. It's a normal one, like it's a whatever the processing is happening. But if you could see the top one where the parallelly we are processing the data using DS Lab. So what does this area do? What does this area do? So this is the new interesting or very useful for the data scientist, like how the DS Lab is going to be very useful for the data scientist. I'll go to the DS Lab screen in a few minutes and I'll show you. So what happens is when data comes in, so we are formatting the data, doing a pre-processing of the data, and then we are sending this data to the DS Lab. So most of us would have been knowing like what are the components, existing components available inside the pipeline. So we have our model component and Python model component. Now we have introduced a DS Lab model runner, which helps to run the DS Lab model, which is being published by a data scientist. So for this use case, I have my data scientist worked on this data, and he came up with an anomaly detection model, and he published this for me. So let me go to the meta information. So this is the project he have created, and this is the model he have published for us for this anomaly detection use case. So these are all the other configurations what we have to do. Once this is predicts whether it is an anomaly or not, we store this data for the further analysis of our use case. So let me go to DS Lab. Let me go back to the PPT here. So what is DS Lab? Actually, like Avin have given a little bit glimpse of what is DS Lab in previous time itself. Like what is DS Lab here? So DS Lab is a new feature, new model which has been enabled inside the BDB platform, where a data scientist could come and do his experiments. If he wanted to collaborate with multiple data scientists, he can collaborate with multiple data scientists. And there's one more added feature is like some of the enterprise doesn't want to share their data outside the platform or outside their network. So in these cases, if you have a data DS Lab inside your platform itself, you doesn't need to take the data or bring the data outside your platform. Here you can connect with existing connectors inside the BDB platform, like you can use any kind of connectors and you'll be able to connect those data sets into the DS Lab, which can be used. And so when a data scientist is creating a model, but how he'll be able to productionize this? So here it is a single click away, he'll be able to productionize that. And here you can just do the save model of it, like you create the model and save it or publish to the pipeline, you'll be able to do it. And here we support the external libraries as well. So if you wanted to use any external libraries, you can use it. And obviously we have the version control management using the GitHub. We'll be able to manage the version control as well. Let me go to the DS Lab screen. So this could be a new one for all of us. So if you see in this home menu, so you are having a DS Lab here, you can open it. So these are all the projects which has been created by my data scientist. For this particular use case, is the anomaly detect project. Let me go inside this. These are the notebooks created by the data scientist. So I can just go and edit this. So if I'm editing it, I'll come to know what are the scripts they have used for doing this and what kind of analysis they have done. So here you have imported the data and he just trying to understand what kind of analysis he has to do. He does EDA and he tries to run logistic regression, random forest, and he decides, okay, what kind of model will be opt for this kind of data. And he does this anomaly detection here. So here you could see this, what kind of anomalies is being captured using inside the DS Lab itself. This process, all the processes can be implemented by a data scientist here. And once this kind of process is completed, and what next? So I have done my project, I have done my analysis, I have prepared my model. What's next? I need to save the model. So here it's we are having an option of save the model. Once you save the model, what happens is your model will be listing here. So let me go to all. Your model will be listing here. So, and you could see save artifacts also. Whatever the artifacts you are preparing from this model, it also can be saved under this artifacts. So when this model is there, now I need to productionize this, or I need to use this in the real-time use case. So in case of how it would be very simple in BDB, how it is very much integrated with the data pipeline. So you can just click on this and unpublished, which is this is already published model, so it comes as unpublished. If I want to do unpublished model, let me click on this. Here I'll be having a publish. So once I click on it, what happens is a click away. So once you click on this publish, it comes to me in the pipeline. So what are the model, what we have done there, it will be listing for me. So this helps to productionize the DS model, whatever the data science models, into the pipeline, and it runs on a real time. And here we can do this configurations of how much amount of CPU we need, or what could be the memory we need based on the data volume what we are processing inside the pipeline. So this is the overview of how we are doing the data processing inside the BDB data platform, and how the data is coming in, how a data scientist is easily able to use this DS Lab and make the model productionize. So let me go to the pipeline screen again. So here one of the option which most of us might not be using it, or most of us might not be aware of, it's a monitoring option. So here you can turn the monitoring. Now you'll be able to know like what are the components we are having inside that pipeline. So if I'm having a rule splitter component, anomaly detection model, DS Lab runner, Python scripts, all these components are available for me. Now this is a allocated memory for it. This is a CPU which I have allocated. But if you could see, this consumed memory is this much and the CPU is this much only, it's been consumed, and it's been processing 96 bytes of data. So we'll be able to know how we can optimize the resource utilization in this using this monitoring scheme itself. So this would be one of the helpful page where the data engineer who creates the pipeline can optimize their each components. And all this complete BDB data platform can be communicating to the Prometheus or Datadog, where you'll be able to see the logs, what's happening inside the platform. You'll be able to do that externally as well. So let me go to the futures. And the next is dashboards. So dashboards is nothing but the data destination layer where we wanted to show the data or how the data is getting viewed or visualized for the end users. So let me go to the user again. So this is the dashboard skin where we'll be getting this dashboard which is published for them. Right now I have logged in as a manager. So I'm listing with the manager dashboard. I can open it. So let it load for. So the data has been loaded here. So what happens is whatever the Jira ticket is being created from the pipeline for each census, we are communicating to the Jira directly using our BDB out of the box Jira connector and created the data sets to communicate to this dashboard. So those data sets has been integrated into this dashboard, which says how many tickets is total tickets, how many tickets are in progress, how many tickets are closed, and how this process can be done. And here you can just see this based on the unit engineers, how many tickets has been assigned for them. And here I could see this to do like how many progress in progress and time. So the next, also these are the analytics which I can do based on the data what I receive, and this incident details helps to see for each plant how the unit has been used, how the sensors has been used, and the different data and stuff. And if I wanted to know, like it's a drill down, it's possible you can build this drill down. All this analysis is possible inside the dashboards. Most of you know about it. Now, what is a new one? What we have done here is that write back from the dashboards to any kind of systems. So if you wanted to write it into database, you'll be able to do it. If you wanted to write it to any kind of external systems, you will be able to do it. So here you have provided an edit option for this particular Jira ticket. So you can just go here. As a manager, I wanted to change this status to in progress, and I wanted to update it to Harsha. So these are the two changes I have done, and I'll comment here. Okay, let Harsha pick this and check the issue, and I click on apply. So what happens is once I click on apply, this gets communicated to the ticket management system where it is a Jira. So here you can see, okay, this is the Jira ticket which has been created and it's in progress and Asha. Let me go to the Jira and check whether it is getting updated. 6111. So here you see, yeah, let Harsha pick this and check this issue. It's almost like 24 seconds ago. We have edited it, which we have communicated from there. The same way, like now we need to know like how this role-based access works. Okay, so I have missed it, but still we have got the notification from the sensor, one of the sensor which says this is the alert time which has been produced some time back, and we will be able to get a real-time alerts here on this. So now I'll log in as a unit manager. So right now I have logged in as a manager, and how this dashboard is being provided for him, how the restriction role-based access is being provided for the unit manager. Let me log in as a unit manager here. I'm logging as a unit manager here. So the same dashboard, you could be able to see visually that you'll be able to understand the difference. Here, he's not having a incident details tab. He can only do this analysis on the tickets, what is being created for him. And that they are in progress tickets, how many tickets has been assigned and how many is in to do, it's been listed here. And here also we are providing an option for the unit manager, go and edit his task. So if I want to edit into in progress and you want to say, I'm checking this, I can click on apply. So the same thing is will get integrated or will get updated in the Jira also. So here that could be a question. Well, I'm having already Jira. So why I need to do this integration from BDB dashboards to Jira? So it's not like we are not claiming that Jira is the only one we'll be able to do it. It's external. So just the context of this solution, what we have built it here to show you, like we will be able to connect to any kind of external sources or any kind of external monitoring tools or anything to update the status or to communicate it. Or if you want to do any write back from the dashboards to the database, so you'll be able to do it from the dashboards using dashboards plus the combination of data pipeline. You'll be able to do it here. So let me take a minute here. So I'll go back to the slide. the manager dashboard, what we have seen. And here like we have released like next step of data as an API. So what is data as an API? So as we were saying, as we were talking some time back, I wanted to send my data outside the platform. So right now you are able to visualize the data, whatever is there in the process inside the platform, you are able to visualize in the dashboards in BDB dashboard designer itself. But if you wanted to send the data outside the platform, or you wanted to integrate the data externally with any enterprise applications which is already available, or any UI dashboards like Tableau, or if you wanted to send this to Power BI using it as an API, yes, you'll be able to do it. So we do have options in our data sets where you'll be able to do this. Let me go to the real-time one, like how you'll be able to get that. So let me go to this data center. So right now I'm logged in as unit manager, so he's not having access to do any of the things. Let me log into as a manager. So here you could see this data center, so you can just open it. So the connectors is same, like we'll be able to connect to any kind of connectors from this using the data connector and data sets. So on top of this, we will be creating a data sets using the connector, and the connector on the data set what you have created can be published as a data as an API. So let me show you an option. So here is the option for publishing any kind of data set into as an API. So let me click on this. So this is already I have configured this. So here you could see what is the service name we have to give, what category it belongs to, or just giving a description of it. And once you do everything, you can just click on the save button here. So what happens is like this save button creates the service inside the BDB platform. Okay, now I have created it. I have created the service. How I will be allowing or authorizing that or authenticate this data as an API from the BDB platform. So we do have option in admin. So once this has been created, so you can go to admin. Admin should be able to give this authorization or authentication for this. So we have an option as API client registration. This API client registration helps the admin or the manager to create this or provide the authentication for logging into it. Here it's we are having two different level of registration. One is the internal, other one is an external. So internal is something like which the authentication will happen inside the platform itself. BDB platform will handle this authentication. And if it is if it is an external one, so for example, if enterprise might be having an API management layer, for example, Kong. So if they wanted to integrate the authentication in the API management layer and they just wanted to pass these parameters into the BDB platform data as an API, yes, that's also possible to be able to do it. So let me show you like what are the options we have. So let me edit this. So here is the internal API what we have created for our demo. So this is the client name I have given, and this is the client email ID, and this is the app name I have created, and this is the request per hour, request per day, and what are the services been used, and what is the client ID and client secret. This is auto generated from the platform. So for each registration, this client ID and client secret will be different. And here you could see okay, here you could see the option of sending mail to the client. So if I'm clicking on this, what will happen is all this information will be sent as a mail to him, so that what are the credentials, what are the secret key, he will be able to get it from here. And we are having an option of download. This download is nothing but you'll be able to get the Swagger documentation of this particular API. So let me go to this one of the client. These two are the data as an API what I have published. Let me go to here. So here you could see get and post. So from a BDB platform, we are providing an option. You can use this data as an API as a get call or a post call. Both the things you'll be able to get it. And these are the information you'll get it from the Swagger document. This you'll be able to download this in your local and can be shared as well. So this covers how the data or data can be shared external from the BDB using the BDB platform. Like you can use this data as an API, and you can configure any kind of filters. You'll be able to do it, and you will be able to share. You'll be able to share the data. Let me go to and whatever I have created, I'll just show you how it is, how I'm able to get the data. So let me go to this first one. So the first one is nothing but like I just wanted to know like what is my last 10 minutes of data, so I can integrate this with a chart or any application which is there in my existing system. So I have given the headers, client ID, app name, client secrets, whatever I have created when I'm registering this API. The body is nothing, like, because it's a get call. Let me go to the send. So if I'm sending this, what happens is I'll be getting the latest last 10 minutes data here. So, okay, so I have got this. Now I'll be able to visualize it or view it anywhere outside this platform. Now, second thing is I wanted to pass a filter to it. Yes, you'll be able to pass the filter to it, and you can use a query parameter, or if you wanted to use a path parameter, you'll be able to do it. And as we support this post, you can you can send the values in the body also. So let me go and send this. So here I'll be getting for this particular sensor, what is the last 10 minutes of data. So I'll be getting it here. So this can be utilized, or this can be given to the data scientist to do the process, or anything can be built on top of this. So this covers the complete whatever the data processing is there, and how we are able to visualize data dissemination can happen inside the platform. And now the next is data catalog. This is one of new feature what has been released. What is a data catalog in BDB platform? I would say in BDB platform, because like whatever is being utilized inside the BDB platform. So you connect to any kind of data connectors, you create any kind of data sets, you connect, you do the data processing using pipeline, you create a dashboards using multiple data sets, and you are connecting to the database of using the data connectors. All these things and the tables or the collections inside the database, everything will be listed here for the further analysis. So this gives a holistic view for the management or the business analyst, who will be able to know, okay, this kind of data sets is there with me, so I can do this kind of analysis, and I can suggest this kind of KPIs to my management, who will be able to take the right decisions. So that is available here. Let me go to the platform again. So here there's a search button here. You can click on this. So here you'll be getting a data catalog. So here what we can do is you can search for sensor. So as this complete use case is all about sensor, I'm typing it for sensor. So I type it, I'll get this information here. So here we will be able to see by this visually itself, we'll be able to see what is this Mongo. There is some different icons for each thing. So if it is a table or attribute, it will be in this fashion. And if it is a connector or database connector, it will be having this fashion. So let me click on it. What's there? So I clicked on it. I could easily see, okay, this is a data connector, and what kind of connector it is. It's a Mongo, and whether it is verified or not. Yeah, yes, data steward has been verified this, and the owner of is this IoT user, which is this user, whatever I have logged in. So along with this, we have created multiple data sets under him. So what happens is, like, I created the data set, and somebody has to check whether this is proper data, which gives the right data. Yeah, obviously the data steward can go and monitor it and do this published or verified. He'll be able to do it. So here you could see this, some of the data sets are work in progress, and some of the data sets are in published mode. So you'll be able to use it. So none of us, there is no data store on top of this, so it's not listed. So let me go to the next one, is the lineage. So here you could see there is a Mongo sensor. This is the connector we have got it. Now let me click on this. So these are the data sets created on top of this connector inside the BDB platform. So if you remember, like, I have created one data as an API using the sensor raw 10 minutes. Let's see whether it is listing here or not. I'm clicking it here again. Yeah. So what happens is, whatever the this is the data set which is being used. All these are the columns which I get from the data set. But still, from here also, we are having one data as an API, since our API is being listed here. So this gives the lineage, okay, what is from where to where the data is getting processed or visualized. So I can click on it to understand what are the columns available for me. Yes, if you wanted to add, like, now I know in this data set, I'm having these columns, but this is having less. So I can request my data engineer to add this for the sense for the data as an API as well. So if I wanted to know, like, okay, so I just see this Jira status, or if I have something like, okay, the sensor last 10 minutes, what's there? So let me click on this. Okay, I'm seeing this kind of data is already available. Okay, here also there is an API created for me. Let me click on this. Okay, so here this is the data which is getting pushed to the client system. So here, if I wanted to add this to my other API, or if I wanted to create an API out of it, yes, you can request the engineers to create for you. And there's a network. So here, this gives the network like how it is being connected. So this is the connected data connector, and this is the database which is getting connected. In case if I'm moving it to a dashboard or a pipeline, it'll be having a complete network of how the dashboards are connected with data sets, how the data sets is being connected to the data connector, we'll be able to get it here. So this data catalog helps in a way like how we'll be able to know what are the data available for me and how it can be processed. So this gives the complete overview of today's webinar, and let me hand it over to Avin for the next.
Thanks, Mani. I think Anup is already answering the questions available in the chat, and Rajat, can we open it for direct Q&A so that people can unmute themselves and then they can directly ask the questions?
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone. So you guys will be able to open up your mic for the questions. You can unmute yourself and ask your question if you're having anything.
Yeah. So before some of you may ask a question, I just wanted to cover that. See here in the presentation slide, I have just put it in terms of how the BDB platform has been developed over a period of years, so that you get an idea that this is a very extensive effort of writing a completely integrated software in terms of platform for so many years, and how the maturity is being attained in terms of overall platform features, the visualization features, the data science, and the data pipeline, and then how we could deploy this for different type of verticals, and how we could do this in terms of the data volumes. So just to give an idea in terms of that, it's a very sincere effort in terms of creating an end-to-end integrated data analytics platform, one of its kind in the industry. So I think we can open it for the questions now. Okay, so our data scientists can answer this, but it is like a Jupyter notebook, but the only thing is it is helping you to connect with the pipeline in more seamless way, so that you will be able to do the production use cases faster.
Yeah, that's Senthil here. I joined 5 minutes late. Did you talk about the technology stack used here to have this running?
Yes, Senthil. So actually, I showed that this is how the overall stack, the platform stack is looking at. And in terms of technology, so you have different type of data. So when you write this type of platform, you will be virtually using multiple technologies, whether you're talking about Scala, Java, or JavaScript, or jQueries, and you're writing so much of features. So I think it's, as I was showing you, over a period of 7 or 10 years, it's full of technologies, different type of technologies. But this is how the stack is looking, that you have different type of data connectors with a data pipeline, modern data pipeline with 70 plus off the shelf component, which helps you to create your own components as well. So for your developers, they can create their own components and then can deploy. And with the AI and ML lab, you will be able to collaborate, experiment on the models, and push it into the production using the pipeline data. And visualization, we are giving it end to end. And if you don't want our kind of visualization and you want other visualization, then you can expose the data through the API and then do that as well. Senthil, did this answer your question?
Yeah, it answered. One more question is only available as a service, or how is it?
As a service, no, this is a standard platform. So it is not using, it uses open source, but it doesn't uses any of the licensed software. So BDB platform itself is a licensed software, and apart from that, you don't need anything else to do the production. So for example, what I was saying is in one of the use cases that we have done recently, took 18 months to 2 years to develop something, but we could do it 3x the speed of what other teams were doing it on the most famous platform, and at 1/3 of the cost. So we could beat it by 9x in that case. Not sure to do that every time, but yes, with the right kind of service teams and ability to use this platform in the best possible way, you can go towards production faster.
Senthil, I think your question was more related to whether it can be deployed into the customer environment. If that was the question, yes, it can be deployed in any cloud or on-prem infrastructure as well.
Yeah, that's what my question. Yeah, you answered it. Thank you, Anu.
Okay, it has been deployed on petabyte levels, but Anup will answer more details on this. Anup, the question is, what is the scale?
Yeah, so it can be horizontally and vertically scaled, each of the process. So if you look at the pipeline, whatever Mani was showcasing, each of them are independent processes, and each of them can be controlled to scale up and scale down based on the processing capacity. Since the platform is deployed on a Kubernetes environment, you have the control to scale it up and scale it down based on the processing capacity. And basically, each of these components are event driven. So you can see that every component has an in event and an out event. So based on the event lag, also the processors can be scaled up. Yes, we have options for real-time as well as batch. So real-time components will be deployed continuously, and batch component can be spin up when there is a data coming to the event which it is listening to.
Yeah. And in terms of how real-time, I can just say that some years back, we created the system which was recording from one of these ports where we could just trap the information within seconds, run through the algorithm, and give the output on the UI within 10 seconds, everything. Yes. Anup, on the upgrades.
Yeah, so basically all the components are deployed in a container registry. It could be Git registry or Docker registry, any of the registry. We support all the registries. So once you have a new version of the component, yes, it can be pushed to the registry, and then system can pick it up automatically.
Okay, I think if there are no further questions, or I think if people can unmute, then we can give 10 minutes back to people. Thank you. And we will be sharing the webinar links with all of you soon. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.